So right now there seems to be two types of people. You've got the conspiracy theorists that are so focused on the problem, and it seems to be quite negative, and a lot of people are a little bit, I'm not sure if I want to get into that rabbit hole. And then you've got the other side of the coin. You've got the New Agers, and they're so focused on the solution that they ignore the problem. And many people are asking the question, should we be focused on the problem or the solution? Well, let me remind you that spirituality is about going beyond the matrix of polarity, because when you go outside of the box, that's where the real answers come from. So in today's video, I'm going to be breaking down the real answer in this video: the new earth, the harvest, and the Great Reset. So if you know what I'm talking about, make sure to like, subscribe, and click all notifications so you don't miss any of my weekly uploads. That being said, let's get it. Okay everyone, so today I'm going to be blowing some minds. I hope you are strapped in because we're going deep once again. Welcome back to another episode of Warriors Amongst Men, Spirit Amongst Flesh, Needs over Wants, Thriving over Surviving, the Kingdom of Heaven over the Kingdom of Materialism. As always, my name is Sam and I'm here to help you liberate from your flesh, define your purpose, and live the life that you came here to live. And today, we're going to be talking about the new earth, the harvest, and the Great Reset. I'm going to be giving you some new intel as to what's going on right now, the real answer, how to think outside the box. And remember, everything on this planet is inverted, everything's backwards, so thinking outside the box actually means you have to go inwards. Let me explain what I mean. Okay, so if we go into a state of meditation, you're getting into a state where you are not your mind, you are not your body, you get into a state of pure awareness. In the beginning was pure awareness. That is who we are as source. Everything else is simulated programs. So this board right here represents source. Source, okay? So in the beginning we created programs, and the first program we created was the law of mentalism. And let me write this down. Mentalism means that everything starts in the mind. Everything that is human doing, you have to think about it before you go and do it, right? So the law of mentalism is how it all started. But what happened was, we created a beautiful reality, and this is described in the Gnostic text, right? And I actually go into the Gnostic text over on my Patreon if you're interested in going deeper into that also. Now, then what happened was there was a hijack, right? And we talk about the demiurge a lot, the demigod, right? We talk about that a lot, how our consciousness has been hijacked. And you can see this reflected in our reality because we have something called a government, right? And they are governing your mentalism. They're governing your mind. And that's exactly what the word actually breaks down as. Govern means to control or to rule, and ment comes from mental or mind. So it literally means mind control. Okay, so where we go from there is we are now seeing how our minds have been hijacked. So how a government comes into being is through our consent. All the laws that come into being, we have to consent to them, otherwise they don't exist. So spirituality is all about empowering yourself with truth and destroying illusion and aligning our perception back to the truth, right? And there are many different layers to spirituality also, which I'm going to be sharing with you how this happens. So what we have is we are consenting, right? We consent to someone else needing to tell us what the difference between right and wrong is, right? To tell us, to govern us. We've consented, and that's why we are now the only species on Earth that has to pay to live, right? And this is actually a form of black magic, which I'm going to share with you why and how. Because now you're consenting, and this is creating a concentric circle, right? Because when you think about something, it becomes a thought loop. Why do you think, like, people have the same thoughts every single day, don't we? Right, we think about the same thing over and over and over again, unless you actually do something about it, right? They say 95% of your day is governed by your subconscious mind, right? We do the same thing. We live a ritualistic lifestyle, right? And dark magicians, they know psychology, they know how human behavior works, right? Obviously, human behavior is based on your perception of reality, and your perception is based on the information that you receive, of course. And so if you manipulate the information human beings have access to, that's why they burnt witches and wizards, they burnt, books, and now they censor people online, right? And they fill your mind with loads of garbage. They actually fill your mind with what they want to create, okay? So what is a concentric circle? Right, it's a thought pattern, it's a loop, it's a perception bubble. So when you consent to evil, when you consent to someone else's, whatever it is, when you consent to their perception, you become their perception. Right, let me say it again. When you consent to their perception, you become that perception, and that manifests in your reality. And so, as pure awareness, we've been hijacked. So now we've created more concentric circles, and now no one knows who they are anymore. On Earth, no one knows who they are, what they're doing, where they're going. And a spiritual awakening is all about removing the concentric circles. In other words, removing perception bubbles of illusion, right? And eventually you get back to the truth, all right? And that's why so many people, I've even got videos on the second spiritual awakening, but what about the third, the fourth, the fifth, the sixth? Shall we get into that later? Maybe. So you get deeper and deeper into yourself. So when we talk about thinking outside the box, what we're actually doing is we're deleting the box altogether, or the boxes, because there's many of them, right? And that's why, a lot of my videos, I'm exposing stuff, because when you expose stuff, the solution automatically appears, all right? Now, what we have here is, what does this look like? It looks like everything that you see in nature, okay? So when you go into nature, if you was to cut a tree in half, you would see concentric circles, right? If you throw a pebble in the water, you would see concentric circles. If you cut an onion in half, you would see concentric circles. Right, so we are getting rid of the trickery, and we are diving deeper. Right, so let me show you an example of dark occult magic. I have a video on my YouTube channel on how 2020 was a dark occult ritual, and you can go over and watch that if you want to learn more about it and how it really works. But everyone seems to have this question: if Novid doesn't exist, then how come some people seem to be getting the flu, colds, coughs, runny noses? Well, remember that our world is holographic, and if you want to change the hologram, you have to change it in the overhead projector, in the mind. Everything starts from the mind. So when you give consent and you believe what the magician, the spell they are casting into your mind, then that manifests as your reality, right? That's why they don't want you to know how powerful you are. And that's why you might think, well, Sam, are you manipulating me right now? Hang on a minute. Spiritual teachers, light workers, we're all about empowering you. What are your beliefs? You can't just have no beliefs and go and sit in the corner and do nothing. What you believe, you perceive, right? And it's not about believing, it's about knowing. When you know, now you create the law, you create it, because you don't create limitations, and you don't impose limitations or take the rights away from anyone else. And now you're in what we call organic reality, natural reality, because you are in alignment with the natural order, the natural way of things. You're not destroying your home, you're not destroying other people's lives, other animals' lives. So an example of dark occult magic we can see in 2020, right? Some people, they got the flu, and what this is it's a belief in statistics. It's a response to mass negativity. It is fear. What is a runny nose? It is you're crying inside because you don't feel heard, right? And because you believe what they're telling you on the news, then you go and tell everyone, and other people, they're not listening, and now you're crying inside. And you can have that just in your relationships. You can be manipulated all the time, right? You got to empower yourself. What about if you get a cough? If you get a cough, it's the same thing. You're literally barking at the world because no one listens to you and no one sees you. Everything has an underlying spiritual meaning. So how we actually bring about New Earth is we have to anchor ourselves in the center of the onion, right? We need to know who we are and then live a life that is reflective of who we are on the inside. Meaning we know what is truly important, meaning we don't just want to create a life based on our ego, we actually create a life that is the will of the source, it is the divine plan of the source. So you learn along your path and you realize that your mess is your message, and you become a messenger, you become a messiah, you become a massager, right? Right, a little bit of word magic for you there. And what is the harvest? Right, the harvest is happening right now because many people are not aware of their power. They're refusing to wake up. So their ass gets harvested, right? Just like how I've explained to you, they're giving their consent away and they're not open to the riches of the new signal, the new vibrations, the new energy that is available to them right now. If only they will stop listening to everyone else, start listening to themselves and start facing their fears and living the life they came here to live. That's why you got to be a warrior amongst men. That's why you got to live as spirit amongst flesh. And what is the Great Reset? Well, all of these bubbles are bursting right now. That's the Great Reset. Right? Because remember, these people are telling us this. The governments, if you go on the World Economic Forum, they're the ones talking about the Great Reset. But that is in the hologram, it's on the Matrix script. What's the spiritual meaning? The spiritual meaning is people are waking up and we are resetting. We're no longer controlled by the demi, right? We're no longer controlled by the government, by dark occultists. We are empowering ourselves right now. And when you live a life that comes from within, right, now you get your power back and you're going to be really shocked at what you start to manifest after that. That is how the New Earth comes about. And you're not going to know what I'm talking about until you face your fears and live the life you came here to live. So to answer the question, do we focus on the problem or the solution? And the answer is neither. We have to anchor ourselves in the truth and then allow the divine plan of the source to unfold by speaking our truth, remembering who we are and becoming warriors amongst men. So I hope you enjoyed this video, my friends. I'm now going to be making another video over on my Patreon, Keys to the Kingdom, and it's going to be on how to open an infinite abundance portal. And it's for all you magicians out there that want to create a purpose-based business and get started on sharing your message with the world, then the link to my Patreon and all of my other services is in the description box below. And with that being said, thank you for your continued love and support. Until next time, peace and love, my friends.